Greetings, listeners, and welcome to Different Stages Radio. I am JJ, and I'm very proud to announce that this week's guest on Different Stages Radio is front person, lead band extraordinaire, shall I say that? Shane Connery Volk from One Bad Son. Welcome to Different Stages Radio, Shane. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me. And you can put it however you want. Frontman, lead singer, whatever you want to use.
Okay, perfect. Solo artist?
Sometimes, yes. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I'm kind of turning into your typical modern day artist where I do a million different things, right? So,
yep.
Yeah, the band is still number one music wise. I had put out a single on my own a year ago now, something like that. It was like one of those projects that was happening before COVID, and then after the pandemic, it was kind of just something I decided to put out. So, but I'm very happy to be back recording and having an OBS single finally back out.
Perfect. But just to touch on that quickly, I'm pretty was surprised and enjoyed that Shiver track. I thought that was really, really cool. So,
thank you so much. Thank you.
And is that just a one time only thing, or is that something that might?
Well,
turn into something.
I think it's probably going to turn into something. I actually, myself and Tara McLeod, who we did some writing for the new OBS tracks, we've started writing songs together, worked with a couple of country artists. And so I'm finding some different places for my kind of solo work to go. So I think it's morphed from wanting to be like a quote unquote solo project outside the band to more just like, I have a lot of music that I write that just doesn't work for OBS, write a lot of stuff that could work anywhere. So I'm just kind of finding new places for that to live, whether or not that turns out to be like my personal solo project or something for other people. But I think I have enough of my own stuff written that I think at some point I'll probably maybe even do an EP or something like that. And it's fun to get out and play some solo shows here and there. I mean, it's I get to do. I've always said, especially with Kurt on the drums, I mean, I get to play, like I'm doing karaoke every night with the best band behind me all the time, right? So when you go do it solo, it's a bit different when it's just you and a guitar and you have no one to blame but yourself when mistakes are made.
Well, it's kind of a nice release, I'm sure. Just a way to,
that's cool.
Just share a bit more of your your personality and that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's cool. And honestly, like, and I'm sure we'll get into this, but coming back to write with Kurt and write in a band situation again, it was cool to do some stuff on my own because I realized how much I'd missed a band dynamic. I think being in a band for almost 20 years, I was getting a little, sometimes you feel like writing with a bunch of other people can be stifling. And I was feeling that way. And then I went and wrote on my own, which is sort of liberating. But then you start to miss having those other people and those other voices. And you realize very quickly that it's the magic of a band and having different personalities contribute to songs. It really makes some amazing magic happen. I mean, I've written stuff on my own that I'm happy with. Like, thanks for saying that about Shiver. It was a cool song that kind of happened at a certain time in my life and really proud of it. Loved how it turned out. But there's just something about that magic when a band is really firing, and especially when you're writing together and it comes together in a collaborative way. Yeah, it's cool writing on your own, but that kind of magic is just, it's very different, very special.
So you feel like you're maybe entering chapter 2 now with One Bad Son as far as new band members? It's been 6 years. Like, where did that go? That's
right. I know.
What's that?
Kurt and I were just talking about that, like 6 years. Like, I feel like we released Raging Bull yesterday. Like, it feels like yesterday that it hit number one, and it was this amazing moment in our career. And boom, 6 years later. But you hit the nail on the head. It really feels like, it really does feel like not even chapter 2, more of a new beginning, like a rebirth almost. Like, we really see this, the whole first part of our career as a whole, like from when the band started to moving out to Vancouver, getting signed to a label, getting hit songs all the way up to that number one, really felt like a space and time, and then after that, and with the pandemic, I mean, we needed a break, just physically, emotionally, mentally. And now, like Kurt and I, honestly, we've never written better together. We never had so much fun playing music. I think there was an awakening when we decided to keep going, especially like we shut down during the pandemic. We realized we need
Yeah.
some time, and why bother trying to Zoom write and stuff? We were just burned out. So we're like, if things were shut down anyways, let's just take a break. And it turned out to be the best thing to do because coming out of it now, writing together, it just feels so fresh, so new and exciting. And also, I think probably because of the pandemic and having it like really taken away from you when it's not really your choice, you really realize what a special thing it is to have a band, to go play music, to write with your friends. Like, that stuff can go away after 17 years of grinding, right? Like you can just lose the script. But now, yeah, it feels so special, so new. Yeah, it really is like a
And with
new
Tara and
chapter.
Ryan, Tara and
Amazing.
Ryan fitting him perfectly.
Yeah, amazing. I mean, it's a really cool, like it's taken Kurt and I a while to get our heads around the concept of, we were always four people against the world, like we want to be Led Zeppelin, and then when our longtime bass player, Adam Grant, left, it was kind of the first time that dynamic obviously changed. And then when Hicks left just at the beginning of the pandemic, you know, it's taken us a little while to realize that the band really is the two of us. We've been in it for almost 20 years, and now we have these amazing people. Like Cooley's been playing with us he started playing with us just before the pandemic. So he's written with us now. He's played a lot of shows. And Tara, she hasn't played any shows with us yet because she has like Kitty and her country project, Nice Horse. So she's super busy. But to write with the both of them and our new producer, Brian Montcars, yeah, like it's cool to get that new blood in there, and they're very different than our other bandmates just in tastes and stuff like that. So yeah, very fresh, very, very cool. And has brought out some new things in Kurt and I, which is great. And honestly, I will say this, they are the chillest people. They are
Perfect.
the chillest,
Chill is
the
good.
chillest
Chill is
human
always
beings.
good.
Yes. And it's cool and not in a kind of not in any kind of like power trip way, but they're like, this is your band. Like you and Kurt have been growing this since 2004. So we don't have this policy like it's our way or the highway, but they're very like, we're on board. What you guys want to do, let's do it. And they have full voice. Like we want to hear everybody's take on what we should do. Um, like I said, everybody was in on the writing. So that was really cool, but it's kind of neat to just be like Kurt and I have sort of this final say. Like him and I get together and decide what we want to do, and everybody's on board. And it's a new way of operating for sure. When you have just two people kind of making those big decisions, yeah, it's nice. And then you just take everybody's opinions we love those two and respect their opinions. Same with our Brian Montcars, amazing. So we have I gush about it all day because it's like the best, most fun we've ever had in the studio. So we're very, you're kind of just
Perfect.
like, you feel so energized when you have that much positive energy in a band.
And new label too.
Yes.
Yes.
We
That's a
just
big
signed
change,
with,
huh?
absolutely. Yeah. We
Yeah.
just signed with No Accomplice out of Toronto. So, very cool. Yeah. Big things, just kind of, like you
Yeah, and they
said,
work with
6
that.
years sort of went away.
Yeah, and they work with the Headstones as well, correct? And the
Yeah.
Trues.
Headstones, the Trues.
Yeah.
Yeah, they've got a lot of they're a great Canadian rock label. And, I won't get into I won't go down the dark and dangerous
Oh
path of
no. Oh, come on, come
talking
on.
about,
Come on, come on,
past labels.
come on. You threw the
Well,
anecdote out there. Yeah.
you know what? I'll say
Yeah.
this,
Yeah.
and not throwing shade at anybody, but
Mhm.
honestly, I think rock and roll is its own thing. It's not pop music. It's not country. It's like, it's its own animal in a way. And I think that our old label, as good as we did there, and they did a lot of stuff for us, sometimes I think we weren't, you get the feeling like people don't really know how to deal with you because, like I said, rock and rolls, it's just its own thing. It works. All the music industry obviously has similarities, but rock and roll is very unique. And Known Accomplice, like right off the bat, like they get it, they get the band. They love the songs, and that's the number one thing you want with a record label is that they actually dig your music, right? So, yeah, very cool to be on like a very rock focused label, and especially in Canada, right? Because Canadian rock is the best there is.
There you
So,
go. Yeah. And you got the new single. We got to
yeah,
talk about the new single, which we're going
absolutely.
to. I'm purposely delaying this episode. So for those insiders that want to know, we're recording this on the September 15th. The single debuts on the 29th.
Yeah.
So we will coincide this interview with the release of the single. I Come
Perfect.
Alive. What can you tell us about the song?
Well,
I've heard it
it's
too, though, and it was awesome. I dug the new track, but yeah,
I
I'll
was
zip.
going to say, yes.
Yeah,
I was going to ask you.
yes,
So you have heard it. You
yes,
dug it. That's awesome.
yes, yeah, yeah,
Awesome.
yeah.
I mean, I feel like you wouldn't tell me if you didn't, but I appreciate that too.
No, it was so like it was a comfortable, just good welcome back song.
Awesome. And that's what it felt like writing it. I mean, it's kind of, we kind of went into this with like, what's the best way to say this? Like letting the new version of who we are as humans and as a band just kind of happen as opposed to like, okay, like it's kind of our comeback. Like, let's write a song about X. Like, it just kind of let it happen, musically, the lyrics. And it just kind of encompassed, it's sort of, I mean, it's where our headspace was when I was working on the lyrics. My headspace kind of went to this just like feeling of rebirth, right? And it was the feeling, I think, as lockdowns and stuff were easing and things like just, and more than the pandemic, even, it was just like talking to Kurt again about music, just him and I kind of hitting music again on a level like friends, and not talking business, but talking like music, art, and that sort of. It just felt like life was being breathed back into us musically, and so that's really what the song's about. Is like it's a song about letting go. I think when we hit when we got our number one, it was an amazing moment. It was great. Like no regrets about. Uh, it's an amazing feeling for a band from Saskatoon, Saskatchewan, to have a number one hit in this country. It was amazing. But at that point, we've been in it so long that I know I was really losing track. You have like it's label business. It's you're talking singles, money, all these things. Like, what's the next tour? Like, who are we opening for? What are we headlining? How many people can you get into this room? The art, and I think you'll find many musicians say the same thing 20 years
Mm-hmm.
in. The art starts to disappear, and you especially in the modern industry because you're doing so much stuff yourself. That you just lose the plot. And you're not writing songs saying, "Hey guys, like, what are we into? Like, who's got a riff? Like, what are you guys listening to? Like, let's."
Mm-hmm.
It becomes like, what's the next hit? Like, what's our next radio single? And that really added up, honestly. And so, with that being over and kind of moving through that point, like I said, coming back, Kurt and I it's like, it's a true friendship again. Like, we've always been brothers in music, and so
Mm-hmm.
that's what I Come Alive is. It's like, just let go of that bullshit, of the business. I mean, of course you have to do the business side of the industry. That's part of the game. But when it comes to the creativity, it's just like, let it go. Like, wherever you're heading, let that happen. Like, you're just taking those, controls you put on yourself of what you're
Mm-hmm.
supposed to sound like. What are the bands that are hitting right now? We have to sound like that. Like, just getting rid of that kind of thinking and just like letting go, letting it happen.
Just let it pour out. Now is it?
Exactly.
Yeah. Now is this tracked in just to taunt everyone? To taunt all the fans. Like, is there going to be an actual full length album to soon follow, or are you just baiting everybody? Hmm?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
You know what?
Yeah.
That's actually part of it. And like, honestly, we're living that song right now. So we don't have, like, we have enough for an EP basically recorded. But even that, we sort of took the pressure off. I mean, it's a very new era of releasing music, right?
Mm-hmm.
Costs a lot of money to put a full length album out. So there was a point where we were looking at all the funding ourselves, and we just said, let's forget about an album. Let's just write a few great songs. And so we did that, and that came very easily, and it was like super fulfilling. And so we're just kind of doing that. We've been writing more tunes. So I'm sure there will be a full album at some point.
Okay.
When that is, it's just like enjoy the next song and then enjoy the next one, enjoy some shows.
We're holding you to it. We're holding you to it.
Okay.
But yeah, you
Hey,
said shows. Yeah. So I see shows. You got shows happening in Alberta and Saskatchewan in November, December, correct?
Yeah.
And are we expanding beyond that, or is that just something to get you warmed up and get you back into the touring thing?
Yeah, you know what? We're going to be, again, it's a bit of a loose grip because, Kurt has, like, he's an entertainment lawyer. I draw comic books full time now also. So we have a lot of balance going on. So our ability to, like, go on the road for 3, 4, 5 months at a time is a bit more limited. So we're kind of picking our spots to, like, do some great shows in sort of shorter spurts. But you never know what happens if we get an offer for something longer and can make it happen. But we're going to be playing a lot more, but it might be more kind of shorter stints more often. So
it keeps you more fresh and more vibrant. And
honestly, it's cool. And like I said, it is very much a new industry. And I mean, I'll tell you, it's not cheap driving across Canada. And it never was.
Oh, no.
It's harder now. So.
Well, I'm hearing the horror stories. Yeah, I'm hearing the horror stories of bands even just trying to get drivers. Never mind the costs of actual renting vans or buses and that. Like, just can you find somebody to drive?
Well, and you know what? It's like our whole career we've driven ourselves, and we've had to, we've done. I think the longest nonstop drive that the band did, the four of us, was 70 hours straight. We had to get back home and drive through the night, and you do what you got to do. But I get it. Kurt and I have talked about that for new bands. I mean, we'd get in our van and take off for 2, 3 weeks and drive all around, playing anywhere we could play, getting paid nothing. I don't like to do it now with the gas prices, what they are, and everything else. It's, it costs a lot for a band to get out on the road for sure. Yeah. But we're not afraid to do it.
So, no. But but I'm thinking back to years ago, because I'm curious about these, because I know a bit of these just when you did these shows, but I'd like to hear your take of, looking back when you had those massive opening opportunities, when you got to play with the Stones. Like, that's ridiculous.
It was crazy.
And Judas Priest and Def Leppard, like, that's things that people only ever dream of. Any interesting memories or little stories you can tell for any of those? Things you'll take, you'll never forget.
Well, I'll tell you, you're right. Like, it's Def Leppard was our first arena shows. So, that's one of those moments that no matter how, I'll say this, like, you could be as jaded as you want, but there's certain moments where you're like, oh shit, like, I've thought about this since I was a kid, right? Like, walking out onto an arena stage with that crowd. I mean, coming from playing the smallest bars to, we were already playing some decent sized clubs, but nothing feels like walking out into an arena crowd. It's crazy. And then for me personally, my favorite story was that when we opened for Priest, Rob Halford came backstage and he met us and stuff, which is very rare. Like, oftentimes, like, we chatted to the Def Leppard guys a bit. You meet, like, we opened for Shinedown and they were super cool. They all kind of said, hey, but they're all busy. They're on tour too. It's not like a big hang backstage, right? So you don't always really see people that much. But Halford came in, introduced himself, like, came right into our dressing room, said, hey, hung out. It was super cool. That was like, total fanboy moment. But that night, he didn't watch us play the first night. And the second night, we were playing Retribution Blues. And at that point, I was doing this big scream at the end of Retribution Blues, like, just letting it go. And so I was up. I have this thing that has been dubbed the Ego Riser. I didn't make up that name, but I guess I'm a lead singer, so my ego's not big enough, so I need a box to stand on to make sure everyone can see me. I get up on the Ego Riser, and at this point, like, the music comes down, and I just have this big moment. I let out this big scream, and I looked over, and, like, no shit, Rob Halford's standing right there watching. It was like the one time he came out to watch, and I'm like, man, it's like Halford's there, and I'm about to scream my ass off, and I felt a little like lump in my throat, right? Because I'm like, it just kind of surprised me, but I kept my shit together and I let off. So it was a cool moment to know that, Halford watched a couple tunes and they got to see me hit this big, like, Priest, like, scream. That was super cool. Very
You're like,
cool.
what's this? Like, and where do you go from there?
Oh,
Like, that's it. You're just, okay, I'll go home now. I'm done.
oh yeah, honestly. And we would have gone home, but our van broke down that night, so we
Oh,
got stuck.
bit of a painkiller there, huh?
Oh, that was absolutely
Yeah,
good
yeah.
reference.
There
You
you go.
know, that was a moment, man. That was like kind of one of those like an out of body experience, right? Like an absolute, just like that. That was something else. Yeah,
Where it feels like all the hard work, everything that you plowed through, it's like, there we go. Okay, finally getting some payoff now. Those
totally,
intangibles.
totally. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously in life, there's so much more than the money you're making. You know, in that moment, you're not worried about what chart position your song's at. Like you're just like, you got into it for this shit, for big moments. And also like that's a rock and roll moment, with like the metal god right there. I mean, it's just, yeah, you couldn't script it better for my own life. Like it was, it was
Mhm.
something else.
And how about the Stones? Any Stones
I mean,
memories?
it was a great show. We never
Yeah.
met them. I mean,
Mhm.
they're fly in, fly out. I know like Glorious Sons they went on tour with them a little bit. I think they might have met them once. Like
Okay.
it's, they, I don't think the Stones are hanging out backstage
No,
all
no,
that
no,
much.
no, no, no.
But
But a
I'll
good
tell you,
experience, though. Yeah.
oh, dude, it
Yeah.
was amazing. Like the lineup of bands was amazing. We had a great show. And then, it was a neat show because like, from a musician standpoint, you're like, yeah, the band actually selected, like they heard our track and they selected the bands that were on the bill. So it was kind of neat to know that whether or not Mick actually like listened to us and selected us, I like to think of that. But, so from a musician standpoint, it was like, holy shit, we're playing with the Stones, like right on, what a dream, like this is a dream made. But then after the show, it was a great show. And then we went out and hung out and watched the Stones. Like I've never seen the Stones. My wife
Mm.
was there and stuff. It was just like a magical moment. And 80,000 people, right? We were right in the middle of the crowd. So you kind of had your like a bit of a dream come true as a musician, but then as like a fan, and shortly after Charlie passed away, and you then realize like, wow, what a special moment. Like not only did we play
Mhm.
that show, but you were actually at that show and like got to see the band. And yeah, it was something else. It was, yeah, I looked around a couple times while they were playing. You look at that crowd and you think, man, there'll never be a band like that ever
No,
again.
no, no,
Never.
no. But now you're in chapter 2, so you need to build some new memories and some new experiences. So maybe, I don't know, maybe Iron Maiden's on your calendar. I see they're playing in
Hey,
Alberta in a couple of weeks. So
I
you
would
might,
love that. Hey, you never know.
you
Honestly,
never, yeah,
when we got the call for Def Leppard,
yeah.
we got a phone call on a Thursday, and they said Monday, can you be on this tour? So they happen like that, and we're not going to say no. They're like,
No,
whatever you had planned, you got to cancel it. We're
yeah,
going.
yeah, yeah. So the new single,
No,
I
man.
Come Alive. New single, I Come Alive. We don't want to forget about that. So we're going to premiere that on Different Stages Radio. Really want to
Amazing.
thank my guest today, Connery Volk. Sorry, Shane Connery. I'm sure you get that a lot. Shane Connery
Hey,
Volk. Not a bad thing.
I will never ever complain about being called
No, no,
Sean
no,
Connery.
no, no. But I
Thank you
appreciate
so
you
much
joining
for
me.
having me. This is great. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's just a nice, casual, good hangout, and we'll help spread the word of One Bad Son. Be sure to catch them live this fall in Alberta and Saskatchewan. I think there's going to be more dates. I just had
Uh,
this. I
there
think
may
there will
be
be,
more in the works. Yeah, there may
and
be more in the works. Don't worry.
there will be. Yeah, so stay tuned to the One Bad Son Facebook page, One Bad Son site.
Instagram. Yeah, go to our website. It's all there. OneBadSon.com will take you everywhere.
Much appreciated. Stay
Thank you
well.
so much.
Take
You
care.
too. Let's do it again. Cheers.